Hello and welcome to your April 2022 Tarot Scopes with me, Intuitive Rene. As always, such an honor and a privilege to be here with you and to bring you this content to keep you motivated, inspired, and focused on whatever is necessary for the month of April 2022. So, tarot scopes are always so much fun for me. We're sticking with the same format that we have used for the last couple of months. So, we're doing a detailed spread, detailed layout, giving you guidance to help you navigate through the month ahead. So we're looking at April, month number 4. It is just quite mind-blowing how quickly 2022 is going. And I hope that you are managing to get through it fairly unscathed, fairly successful in whatever it is that you are doing for the time being. So if you are a returning subscriber or returning viewer to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for your love and support. Always means the world to me to have you return. And if you are a new visitor to my channel, welcome to you as well. I do hope that you enjoy it here and that you do consider subscribing to the channel to make sure that you see all the content that is available. So let's talk tarot scopes for a second. What are they? So tarot scopes are videos that I create towards the end of the previous month for the following month. So the time of recording these videos will be like the last week in March, and I release them in that time period so that you have them before the new month starts, so that you can be prepared, so that you can watch to see what the month ahead has in store for you, so that you can prepare yourself, brace yourself if necessary, so that you can take advantage of the energies that are around you. The tarot scopes, there are 12 individual videos done, and they are all completely different. I stick with the same kind of layout. I use the same spread, so it's the same questions that we're asking. I use the same deck, but obviously the readings are so different for each sign of the zodiac. This intro I recorded once and I stick it in the front of each of the 12 videos just to save myself repetitive talking. And I do set the intention with the tarot scopes that they be relevant for your sun sign, for the moon sign, and for your rising sign. So if you do know that much information about yourself, if you are familiar with your natal chart and you do have that, you're welcome to watch a couple more of the videos to get different aspects or different insights to who you are and what you're dealing with for the month of April. I also then strongly encourage you to come back to the video during the month of April. So halfway through, like, closer to the end or whatever it may be, when any time that you're facing a challenge or any time that you're facing a quandary, find yourself in a bit of a pickle, come back to the video, because you will certainly find some inspiration that might help you to make the decisions or the changes, or to make the movements in whichever direction you need to. So I do encourage you to come back. The video never gets taken down. It's always here. The months in question, so like now we're doing April, I will have the April videos highlighted on my YouTube channel. So if you're wondering about how to find it, you just go to youtube.com, you do a search for Intuitive Rene, and on my page you will see the April tarot scopes will be visible. And if you want to look at the past month, if you go, once you're on my YouTube channel, go to the playlists, you will see these, that they're all there. All the previous month's playlists, they're all there for you. So I do each month in a separate playlist just so that I can highlight it and make it easier for you to find. So what decks am I going to be working with today? Well, for our April tarot scopes, I'm going to be working with the Gilded Tarot Royale. I love the Gilded Tarot, I really do. So I have the Gilded Tarot Royale, and this is by Ciro Marchetti. I'm going to be working with his deck. I do have the little mini on hand as well, just in case we need some clarifiers. So we have the two. I love working with these, what I call tarot families. So I've got those two. And then I have the Oracle deck that I want to work with, is this one, which is a combined Oracle deck. It's got two decks in it, both by the same person. I think Wendy Andrews is her name. I hope I haven't got it wrong. So this is the Goddess Dream Oracle, and the Goddess Love Oracle. So you can see that they are, I'm looking for a purple, there we go. So you can see I've got the yellow and the purple. So the one is the Goddess Dream Oracle and the other one is the Goddess Love Oracle, and I have combined them into a single deck, which means that double the gorgeousness, double the gloriousness. So those are the decks that I'm going to be working with. I am going to switch the camera around, so you will see my table. You will have a top-down view of the cards, so that it just means that less of my face and more of the important stuff. So I will swap the camera around so that you get to see onto the table, see the cards as they are, lay them all out, and give you all the information that you need to keep you motivated and inspired for the month of April. So if you enjoyed the video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. By doing that, by engaging with the video, by giving it a thumbs up and a little comment below, basically what you're doing is you're telling YouTube that this is good content and that they should recommend it to other people. And that's the best way to support me and to ensure that I'm able to continue bringing you this free content. And if you haven't already done so, maybe consider joining my YouTube channel memberships. For a small monthly fee, you get access to me. I'm a poet. We do all sorts of interesting things on the YouTube channel membership. So if you click, wrong side, if it should be just down there, click the join button. There'll be all sorts of information explaining the different tiers, the different layouts, what you get, what you don't get. All of that information is there. So do consider joining. I've got quite a beautiful, wonderful group of people who do subscribe and do support the work that I do in that way. And I do so value and appreciate each one of them. I'm going to stop babbling because you are here to find out about April. You are not here for my awful sales pitch. My awful sales pitch. So friends, as I said, I'm going to swap the camera around. We're going to get onto your zodiac and we're going to give you all the information that you need. Let's get going. All right, Virgo, let's get into your reading and let's have a look and see what the month of April has in store for you. So I'm shuffling the Oracle deck. This is a combined Oracle deck as mentioned, and we're looking for a single card that's going to give you the theme for the month ahead. So Virgo, we're looking at a card for the theme for the month of April 2022 for all Virgo energies. Right, cards are shuffled and apparently you're going to have that one. That is the one that sort of jumped and went flying and felt like it was the one that was saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. And it's realignment. Card 24 in the little key phrase at the bottom says, feel the ebb and flow of life. So here we have a lady and her hair looks like it's the water. So her hair is the emotion, it's the water, it's the depth. I love how she's got the spiral on her third eye. And we have this seal behind her and she's sort of looking over her shoulder. We've got various little fishies all around her. We've got seashells. We have the moon and the sun. We've got daytime and nighttime. And that's what she's recognizing. Is she's recognizing the cycles of life. She's recognizing that you win some, you lose some. But with the realignment, I think it's getting in touch with the emotions. Because of her hair being water, water being emotions, it's about getting in touch with your emotions, and it's about recognizing the truth and recognizing that sometimes it's okay to be carried. Sometimes it's okay to ask for a hand up, a leg up, a whatever it may be, but it's also about just going with the tides, because when you resist, when you go against, it is really, really hard. Whereas if you just flow and go with it, it almost brings you back into alignment. So I think that is actually such a stunning theme for the month ahead. So while I shuffle the cards. So Virgo, basically for a theme for the month ahead, it's basically saying that there are going to be experiences, situations, and circumstances. There are going to be things that are going to happen during the month of April for each one of you that will either bring you into alignment or make you realize how out of alignment you are and give you opportunities to purposely select realignment within yourself. But in order for this to happen, you need to just go with the flow. So it's almost like Spirit saying that there's not much that you need to consciously do except to just go with the flow and let things happen. But to be very aware that realignment is the end game, or is the goal, or is the opportunity here, and to just allow opportunities to develop in their own time so that you are in a realignment and going with the ebb and the flow of life. Okay, so loving that, cutting the deck over there. I'm going to lay out our 10 cards
There is a little bit of glare, not too bad, not too bad, but let's put all our cards out. See if I can get them to fit, because that's always the challenge. Once I've got all the 10 cards laid out, we shall start our conversations around them. That's 5 and that's 6. And then here we're going to have 7, 8, 9, and 10, and it all fits. All right, cards are out of the way. Right, so Virgo, let's get into it. April starts off with our 2 of Pentacles. April starts off with you feeling quite confident, feeling quite sure. Look how he's standing on the water, standing on the edge of the water, and you've got the waves sort of crashing around his feet. So that immediately says how April starts off with you already starting to feel a little bit unbalanced. You're standing confidently, you're standing squarely, you're standing securely, but every time the waves come, you're so worried that it's going to knock you, that the next one's going to be bigger and it's going to knock you. I want to see if I can get the camera to focus on his face. Did you see that briefly? Sorry, the camera is not behaving as it normally does today. There we go. There's his face. You can see it clearly there. So you can see he's got a bit of concern. He's a bit worried. The sky behind him is also looking a little bit ominous, but he's doing his best. Okay, he's juggling, and he's certainly got the balancing act taking place around him. He's very mindful of what's going on around him, but he's not running away from it, and he's also not running towards it. He's sort of saying, you know what, I'm bracing myself. Okay, I know I'm things are a little bit scary and a little bit off balance and a little bit strange, but I'm bracing myself. And I am going to keep juggling. I'm going to keep balancing. I'm going to keep trying to find and hold on to my footing. So Virgo, this is you coming into April. Okay, so you're going to come into April feeling like, you know what, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, feeling rather confident in yourself, even though there's this little voice in the back of your mind going, be careful, be careful, be careful. And I think with the realignment, it starts making sense. Now, what is crossing you, or what is causing conflict around you at the moment, is this 9 of Wands. Now, the 9 of Wands is an interesting card because it says to you that it's been a long, hard, difficult road. Even though you have succeeded, and even though you're safe, and even though you're capable, and even though you're all right, other people aren't. Other people who embarked on this journey with you, they haven't they haven't come out of it as well as you have. So it causes us to feel a little bit guilty. It causes us to feel a little bit uncertain of ourselves, and it also just acknowledges what a challenge the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months have actually been for you. So Virgo, what we've got going on here with these 2 cards, all right, what we've got going on with these 2 cards is you ready to tackle anything, ready to embrace whatever comes your way. You're like, bring it on, I can do this. But this little voice in the back of your mind that says, you know what, can you? Like, even though you've made it this far, there's no guarantee that you're going to succeed. There's no guarantee that your lucky streak is going to continue. So this is like almost bringing it back into perspective. Okay, so as much as you're saying, no, I can do this, it's all right, I can do this, there is this little voice in the back of your mind saying, don't be so sure of yourself. Now, immediately, the way that we're coming into April feeling that way, when I look at the rest of the cards, and obviously we're going to get through all of them, but when I look at the rest of the cards, and especially when I look at this alignment or realignment card, it's almost like this is going to be the theme, and you're going to be constantly, I want to say challenged, but I don't mean it in the full sense of the word challenged. But it's almost like the universe is going to constantly remind you that you need to go with the ebb and flow. Don't try and control. Don't try and influence outcomes or anything like that. You've got to just recognize where you're at, what you're dealing with, what's going on in your life right here and now, and make sure that you are bracing yourself to handle it as best you can. And don't let your insecurities, doubts, and the past behaviors, don't let those influence you too much. Don't let those have too much of an effect on what you're going through. Now, the issue that we have here as well, so here we've got the 4 of Cups, and the 4 of Cups, you can see he's sitting under a tree. He's leaning up against the tree. He's got his book on his lap, and he's so lost in his mind because he's so bored. This card is boredom personified, and it's not boredom per se, but it's more a case of disinterested because everything is so samey. Everything is just always the same. Every Monday is the same. Every Tuesday is the same. When we have any kind of gathering function or whatever, it's like It's almost like you can predict everything. Everything is just, and when it becomes like that, we lose interest, and we lose excitement, and we lose passion. And this is where you're at the moment. And this is why you're thinking like, you know what, I can do this, I can handle this, I'm okay, I've got it all figured out. But actually, the truth of the matter is you're all already quite unbalanced to start off with. So this particular card here, the Four of Cups, this is Spirit sort of reminding you and letting you know that you are distracted, that you're not on your A game, that things could go wrong. And you need to just be aware, and you need to just be mindful of your situation and of your circumstances. So you're going to find yourself having these kind of moments quite often during the month. And again, what Spirit is saying to you is that every time that happens, every time you have this moment of, gosh, everything's going to be fine, everything's going to work out, something is going to happen to just almost, I want to say, wake you up a little bit. Okay, wake you up a little bit. Now, you used to be, because this card is talking about how we got here, the past. And the Ace of Wands says to you that you used to be so full of passion, so full of enthusiasm, so full of vigor. You were ready to take on the world and accomplish everything. And you're not that same person anymore, even though you think you are. Even though, your initial reaction or perception of yourself is that that's who you are. The truth of the matter is you're not that same person anymore. Can we say we've softened a little bit? But maybe it's not even softened. Maybe it's just that we're so bored, that we're so uninspired. Let me rather use that word. So April's going to be about you getting your drive back, getting your passion back, getting your vigor back. And there may be one or two, I'm going to call them scary moments, challenges that may happen to help you to get back online with where you need to be, where you should be, and where you're at. Okay, so that's actually quite interesting the way that that's coming through. Now, the support that's available to you through this, because let's be honest, now that you know the kind of challenges that may be coming through, or the kind of circumstances you may find yourself facing in the month of April, it can be a bit daunting, it can be a bit scary. So sometimes it's nice to know who's got our back, who's taking care of us, who's watching out for us. And here on this particular card, again, camera doesn't want to work with me today. What we've got here is we have got a gentleman in his bar, in his pub, and he is celebrating. He is celebrating all that life has to offer. He is celebrating life in the best way that he can. Gosh, this camera really wants to fight with me today. Hold a second. So our gentleman is living his best life. He really is. He has got everything his heart desires and so much more. He wants for nothing. And he's brought all his friends around. Each of these cups here represents an acquaintance, a friend, a family member, somebody significant. You can see that he has excess of wine. I mean, I want to be his best friend. But he's brought everybody together to acknowledge his accomplishments, to acknowledge his achievements, to acknowledge the life that he's lived, the experiences that he's had. And he really is living his best life, which is just amazing. And this is Spirit saying to you that you will always have people around you to encourage you, to motivate you, to help you, to guide you. That support is available to you, but all you've got to do is call for it, is ask for it. So as the support that's available to you, this is Spirit saying to you, we're here for you. We celebrate you. We're acknowledging you every step of the way. Every time you do anything, we're ready. We're ready to acknowledge, celebrate, and to help you move higher, further, beyond whatever it is that you have accomplished. But we do need to celebrate the small stuff, because again, I think it's human nature that we don't really celebrate the small stuff. We're so focused on our big events, we're so focused on our big goals, our big dreams, that when we have small milestones, we don't really celebrate it. And Virgo, this is Spirit saying to you, you've got to celebrate the small stuff, okay? You've got to celebrate all your successes, all your victories, because they're all part of the whole. And again, I think that's why we're feeling so bored and disconnected and disinterested, because we haven't had any celebration, or we haven't had any cause for celebration. So Spirit is saying to you, the whole month of April is going to be about getting you on track, just sort of adjusting, making some adjustments to your circumstances, to your situation, to your way of thinking, to your outlook on life, to get you back into your enthusiasm and your passion and your drive, because we have lost it ever so slightly. And if we manage to do this, what are we moving towards? And this card really excites me for you, Virgo. It's the Two of Wands. So we've got the rabbit, we've got squirrel, we've got deer, we've got a pathway that splits. We've got two ways to go. You can see that the light is shining in one particular direction, but that direction seems to have a lot of mountains, whereas there's a little bit of a gap over there. So it's about choosing your path wisely. It's about making choices and decisions, active choices and decisions, not based on right here in this moment what you feel like, but about what's best for you down the line. So it's almost like it's changing your perspective or your perception to, you know, a month down the line, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, saying, where do I want to be? What's the right thing for me? Where will I be happiest? Where will I be most successful? And where will I be able to achieve better? And I think where you're at the moment, so now that I've looked at all of those cards, what comes through quite strongly, Virgo, is that you may be at the moment, you're sort of like running on a treadmill. You're going through the motions, one foot in front of the other, and you're building up a sweat, and the heart rate is increasing, and we're doing all of that, but we're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. We're not actually seeing, exploring, or experiencing anything different. It's just repetitive. And Spirit is saying that we need to shift this. We need to change this. We need to realign ourselves with the true values, with our true purpose, with our true function, and what is truly important. And Spirit are going to help you do that during the month of April. Okay, so getting on to a little bit more detail. What we have over here now, Virgo, this is the Ten of Cups, and this is how people see you. So when people think about you, when your family, you know, consider your needs, wants, and desires, who are they seeing? What are they seeing? What are they perceiving? And they see you as somebody who's quite content and quite happy, and somebody who's living their best life. They don't see, you know, all the other stuff that's going on. They certainly don't see the boredom, but they see you as somebody who is really has the best of everything, living a good life, and everything is honky-dory. So nobody even notices that you're, I don't want to say struggling, because I don't believe you are struggling, Virgo, but they don't see how bored and disinterested you are. They just think that, you know, you're living a good life and you're happy and content and everything is fabulous. That's how people are perceiving you. What's actually going on, though, beneath the surface is a little bit of struggle. Okay. So what we have over here, if the camera would focus, there we go, the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is the card of keeping everything close to your chest. So you can see this little fella here. He has this beautiful ornate box that contains his coins, all right? And he's holding it very close to his heart. He doesn't trust anybody. So he's holding onto this as closely as he can, as best as he can, trying to make sure that nobody gets hold of it. So his pride and his joy is like he's holding it so close to him, and he's not going to share with anybody. He doesn't want anybody to see the truth of what's inside the box. Now, the box is a symbol for your heart. It's a symbol for your morals. It's a symbol for your values, for the things that matter the most to you in life, whether they physical, tangible things like actual money, or whether it's emotions or whatever it is. But the box and these coin represent the things that matter to you, the things that hold value to you. So you're keeping it all very close to your chest, and you're not really sharing your feelings, your thoughts with anybody. You're like, no, I'm holding on to this, I'm holding on to this, I'm holding on to this. So you can see the differences here. Here we have contentment and tranquility and happiness and, you know, all of those good things. And here you're like, you know, holding it in because you don't know who you can trust and who's around you. And I think looking at these two cards here, I really do think, Virgo, this is Spirit saying to you that it's all just getting a little bit monotonous and a little bit boring. And you're getting to that point in your life now where it's just something's got to give, something's got to shift, something's got to change, and you are so ready for that. So ready for that. Good. Our next card, a cross. So what we have here is our Knight of Swords. Isn't he fabulous? I love all the blue. I love that he's got this huge big eagle flying with him. And I love that we have, you know, all of these beautiful colors and everything going on here. So this is the suit of thoughts, the suit of the mind, the suit of the intellect. And you can see by the horse's movement that, you know, he's got his leg up here, which means there is progress. But he's reached the edge of a cliff. And it doesn't look like he's stopping. The back leg is moving, the front leg is moving, and the knight sitting on there in all his armor, he's like saying, we're moving on, we're moving on. Not really giving much thought to what happens when we step off the cliff. Now, The Knight of Swords is somebody who rushes into things without giving it much thought. Somebody who, is maybe should spend a bit more time in planning, or maybe has planned it so well that he knows that this ledge, this jump, this whatever it is actually doable, manageable, and nobody's going to get injured and hurt. The message for you on this particular card here, Virgo, this is Spirit sort of saying to you that you've got to know your limits, you've got to know your boundaries, you've got to know your capabilities, you've got to know what you can, what you can't, what you should and what you shouldn't do. And I think the way that you're living your life at the moment is maybe too much too little of this. That's what makes more sense in my head. Too little of this. And because you're not aware of options, of possibilities, of potentials, we've just stopped. Because when again I look at these two cards, it's like we're pausing, we're stopped. We're not actually making any progress because we're not certain as to what's available to us, what is there, what isn't there, and how it affects us. I also want to just bring you back to this upcoming choice, decision, and action that needs to come through for you, that is going to happen for you. Again, if you don't know what your options are, if you don't know what your limits are, what your boundaries are, it's very difficult to make an informed decision. So when I look at these two, it is about making an informed decision. Okay, I have got one card left. And this particular card, out of all of the cards on here, is probably the one we really don't want to see. So Virgo, what we've got happening here is the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is the card of heartbreak. It's the card of disappointment. It's the card of pain. It's the card of tragedy, okay? And the tragedy, the hurt, and the pain that's coming for you is if we don't realign ourselves. So if we don't feel the ebb and flow of life and move accordingly, we're setting ourselves up for disaster. And this is if I can call it, the advice from Spirit. So Spirit is saying to you, you're doing well. You're accomplishing so much. Yes, you are sure-footed. Yes, you are quite stable. And yes, you are handling everything as best as you can. But you can only keep that up for a certain amount of time. And the longer you stand there bracing against the waves, the weaker you will get. And we're at a point in our lives now where something's got to shift. And we need to get our happiness back. Well, that's our happiness there, but we need to get our passion and our enthusiasm back, because we've got some tough decisions coming up for us. So Virgo, if we don't take the advice here, if we don't adjust ourselves, realign ourselves every single day, question yourself and say, right, am I doing what is expected of me, or am I doing what I know is right? Am I pushing boundaries? Am I pushing limits? Or am I settling for mediocre and average? If you're settling for mediocre and average, this is what's in store for you. You're going to find yourself in a really difficult position. But if you're constantly realigning, if you're constantly tweaking and adjusting, if you're constantly looking at what your options are and saying, hey, but even though it's scary, even though this is a tough decision, even though it's scary, can I still pull it off? Is it a possibility? Or am I just keeping everything in my chest, keeping everything, to my heart, and not actually experiencing all that there is to life? If you are holding back and limiting yourself, this is where you're heading, if you're not there already. And I think Spirit is saying to you, this is not what you're supposed to have. You're not supposed to suffer from heartbreak. You're not supposed to suffer from pain. You're not supposed to have this. You're supposed to have this. We're supposed to celebrate. We're supposed to acknowledge. We're supposed to live the good life. We're not supposed to find it difficult. It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be fabulous. It's supposed to be wonderful. But the mediocrity, the heartache, and the difficult road that we've been on, it's almost made you lose your passion, lose your enthusiasm, lose yourself. So Virgo, it's time for you to put yourself out there. It's time for you to realign with your purpose. And the only way that you're going to do that is by going with the ebb and the flow and just watching yourself and constantly asking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then do it. And if you can do that, I think you're going to have an absolutely phenomenal month of April. If you stay on the safe side, unfortunately, things are going to get a bit difficult. All right. So Virgo, wishing you a month of joy, a month of happiness, and a month of love. With love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care.